it's all the people saying, oh, you got to live in your car for 6 months. You got to make all these sacrifices. Or, I had an agent, that knew people in LA, but they were like, oh, you're not ready for me to connect you to the people in LA. And I had been with this agent for 5 years. And it's like, I'm hearing, you're not ready, you're not ready, you're not ready. Or you got to sacrifice, or you just got to, be patient and work hard. And I'm a stubborn person. I'm like, I don't want to do it this way.
All right, thank you for joining us on the Downing Cut. Today's guest is an emerging actress and multi-talented artist who embraces creativity in all forms, from martial arts, writing, and visual arts. After stepping away from traditional auditioning, she is now focused on independently producing her own projects, enjoying the freedom of artistic expression and community-driven storytelling. Please welcome to the Downing Cut, Jaelyn Sierra. How are you, Jaelyn?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I like your name. My wife's name is Caitlin. My daughter's name is Evelyn, and we're about to have another one named Adeline.
So all the ones. I love it.
LA. So it's easy. So I like to first. Well, let's just do this. I like to get to know how your journey started into the acting domain. And what caused you to go in there, and how long you've been in, because I think you're fairly new. So this is perfect because the podcast is meant for people who are thinking about getting in or are newcomers. So tell us how your journey started.
Yeah, I think I just really loved watching movies growing up. I feel like it's something that everyone enjoys. I mean, I don't know anyone that doesn't watch movies. So I was just really inspired when I was younger by these films, action, drama, all these types of films. And I think at some point I realized that it was real people that were making these, and I'm also a real person. So I was really interested in it from a young age. And then I signed with an agency. I think I started taking classes and trying to find an agent in like 2016, which is quite a while ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I got interested and kind of started in the industry.
So 2016. I mean you're not brand new. You've been in this for a while.
Yeah, somewhat. I feel like it's hard because like from 2016 to 2019, I wasn't really working a lot. Like you have to find a good agency. You don't know anybody. It's very hard to like get like started at all, like to find any opportunity. 2019 is when I felt like I started networking with people. I was an extra on this feature film. And I feel like that's when I really started to gain a little teeny tiny bit of momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you a secret. That's how most of us started. So that's you start to network, and if there's films here in Seattle, then you start meeting up with other people who are also in the acting world. So when you started in 2016, did you take courses? Did you run workshops? How did you learn how to act?
That's really all it was. When I started in 2016, it was just taking classes. I wasn't really working. It was just taking classes, hearing about who had the best headshots, applying at different agencies. Like that's really what it was. And then through that, you start to kind of learn more. Like your headshot photographer will tell you about people, or your agent will tell you about photographer. And then like I slowly started to meet more people and learn about how to get into things. But it's a process. It was a long process.
And then COVID hit, and I was just kind of dead for a while. Yeah, I can relate. What when it comes to acting and watching movies, watching your peers, watching yourself, what qualities or skills do you believe set an exceptional actor apart from the rest? What makes a good actor?
That's such a good question. I feel like I honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to think. What do you define by like good actor? Like people that
It's up to you.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like I see a lot of great actors in Seattle and in my classes, um, that are just really, I think, passionate about the work. But those are not necessarily the people that book everything or that necessarily have, all these big opportunities, I will say. But I think people that really care, they really dive into the character and they truly want to tell the story more so than just wanting, for the ego, wanting to be an actor and wanting to look cool, but like you're really focused on the story and focus on the character. I think, in my opinion, that's what tends to be the best actors.
So someone who's really dedicated and just wants
Mhm.
to go and do their homework and get into it. Yeah, it's a good actor. I mean, you have to learn how to act too, though. Have you ever? Let me ask you this: in critiquing yourself, and are you one of those actors who like seeing yourself on screen, or do you kind of cringe, or like there is no right and wrong answer? And I think some people think that they have to say, "Oh, I don't like it," but for the most part, I mean, are you proud of the work that you've done that you've seen?
Well, to be honest, I haven't done a lot of work, but I've done a lot of like auditioning and self tapes. I will say, I don't love watching myself, especially when it comes to like short films or like any projects I've done. I'm just like, I don't know. It's just sometimes I look, I'm like, oh, I wish I said that different, or I wish I did that different. But I don't necessarily hate it because I got used to, after COVID, all the self tape auditioning, and I got kind of used to watching myself because I would have to edit all of my self tapes. So I can like tolerate watching myself, but I don't always love it, especially when it comes to like shorts and I didn't have a lot of time to learn the script. And it's whatever take that the, that they chose to use for the short or the project. And, I don't always love watching that, but I can tolerate it.
So how did you meet the guys at F7?
Let's see. How did I meet the guys at F7? Um, I've worked with Geo before, on set. So I was working as a production assistant one day on a set that Gio was on, and I connected with him on there. And then one day I was looking around for a group 448 because no one had reached out to me yet. And I was like, should I make one? Should I find one? I want to participate this year, right? So I reached out to Gio and he told me about F7, all of his friends and his people, his community out of Seven Studios. And then I worked with them on a 48 as an actor. That was for Susuro. And then ever since then, I've been able to reach out to them for projects.
That's awesome. That's how you network. That's how it works.
Yes.
So you said you stepped away from auditioning to focus on independent projects. How has that changed your relationship with acting, or has it?
I feel like it gave me a more positive relationship with acting. I think when you're auditioning, it's a lot of pressure. And I think a lot of new actors don't realize that. I mean, everyone tells you like it's going to be hard. That famous actor lived in their car for 2 years before they made it. Everyone tells you. But when you're in it, like when I was memorizing these 3-page sides and getting a reader and getting, putting in all this work and getting ignored. And then I would do it again and I would get ignored. And I would do it again and I would get ignored. And then I'd have my agent saying, why didn't you submit for this back background extra project? And I'd be like, well, I've been a background extra 20 times now. Can I do something else? And it just became very like hard on me. And then at the same time, I have my survival jobs taking up a lot of my time and availability. And then it just became not healthy for me personally. And it really kind of hurt my relationship with acting. Like I almost didn't want to do it anymore because there wasn't a lot of fulfillment and meaning in it. It was like over and over and over again trying to learn these sides and these characters for this casting director that is auditioning 100 other people and may or may not watch my entire self tape that they made me film for, get 10 minutes of footage for them for. And then
Yeah.
it wasn't great. And, I don't mean to complain. I know it's an experience that everyone goes through. Everyone says it's normal. Everyone struggles for the first 5, 10 years, however many yours, they say it's supposed to be that you suffer. Um, but for me, like taking a pause on my auditions and writing my own work has really healed my relationship with acting, and it's made me excited to act again, and it's made me more excited to create, because I got to a point where when I would get an audition request, like I was not even excited anymore. I was like, oh, now it's a lot of work and I'm not going to hear back like the other 100 times I've done an audition,
Yeah.
So I feel like this has been a lot more rewarding, writing something and getting a team and having people read my work and being like, yeah, this is great. I want to help you produce this and make this. And yeah, you can act in it. And that's been way more fulfilling for me.
That's, I mean, kudos to you for writing your own stuff right away. I think, so I started acting in 2005. And then, same thing, had a day job, had an agent. I could never leave my day job. I tried a couple times to sneak out and all that, but I just couldn't leave. And so I dropped my agent, and they got really, really, really upset with me. And I haven't had an agent since. And and then I would just find gigs kind of randomly through networking and stuff. And then we did Western Soul, which was in Wyoming over the eclipse, and I met an actor, Philip Wheeler, and he and we just connected, and it was like, oh, you're a great acting partner. We should do something else. And it was, we waited and waited, and we watched and looked at other scripts and could never find anything. So I finally wrote something. But it took me this long, which was, we filmed that in what, 2023? It took me this long to actually do it. So you're way ahead of me, just so you know.
I'm also
And
very
that,
stubborn. No, it's all the people saying, "Oh, you got to live in your car for 6 months. You got to make all these sacrifices." Or, I had an agent, that knew people in LA, but they were like, "Oh, you're not ready for me to connect you to the people in LA." And I had been with this agent for 5 years, and it's like I'm hearing, "You're not ready. You're not ready. You're not ready," or "You got to sacrifice," or "You just got to, be patient and work hard." And I'm a stubborn person. I'm like, I don't want to do it this way. I don't want to
yeah,
wait around. I know that's the norm, but I personally like I don't. Also, when people tell me like I'm not ready or I can't do something, again, I have a very stubborn spirit. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna find a way to do it.
yeah.
So yeah, that's just I feel like that's how I stay sane, because if I were to just listen to what everyone was saying, I would still be auditioning and crying every day.
Yes. The failures. We've all failed. Yes. The that's being stubborn, I think, is okay though. I think that's, it pushes you forward, and it's whatever you do, whatever path you take. And that's part of the podcast also, is to let people know you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. You could do whatever you want. Just make it your own. I think that's the part of content creation, is, and that's, if you want to be in control, go for it. If you want to be a writer, go for it. You want to write your own scenes, do it. So are you going to be directing your own film then?
I'm not directing.
Okay.
Johnny from S7 advised me to focus on one or the other, acting or directing. And I do agree, while I feel like I can direct maybe the scenes that I'm not in, the scenes that I'm in, I can't really direct myself because I can't see myself.
Yeah.
And I got to focus on acting because that's a big job in itself. So, writing, producing with like co-producing with them, and acting, which was scary to cast myself as an actor. But again, as I was saying
Why?
before, I wanted more opportunities to act. So I just,
Why was it scary to cast yourself?
I feel like maybe I'm overthinking, but I feel like it seems so like, what's the word? Like egocentric? Ego. I was like, oh, I don't want to like
What?
write it. And then,
I think there's a number of actors who've done that. So I don't think
yeah,
it's not egocentric. It's, you're doing something that you're taking a chance on yourself. I mean, you got nothing to lose, right?
yeah.
Um, the when I acted in Cousin, are you the lead in your film?
Yes, there's a lead that's more like,
Yeah.
I'm like between lead and supporting. I feel like right
Okay.
on that kind of line.
Because
But there's another actor that's going to be the very main character.
that's what I did. So I wrote the film, I directed it, I was a cinematographer for it, I edited it, but I was also in it, but I was not the lead. So that was like taking a step back and going, okay, Philip, you're the lead. And then my wife was the co-director so that she can direct me if I messed up on anything or if I did something wrong. So I mean that worked out great. And but this next the sequel, it's going to be. I decided not to be in it for that very reason. Exactly. So Johnny Jones, your advice is sound, man, because it's a lot of work doing both at the same time. What
Yeah.
how what artistic disciplines outside of acting have influenced your performance style or approach to storytelling?
My approach to storytelling. That is so interesting. I feel like all art is a form of self-expression. So I really started with a lot like a heavy sport background, doing like martial arts, mostly Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that. And I also was always decent in school at visual arts and really like visual arts. So like painting, watercolor, acrylic painting, drawing. I'm not saying I was the best of the best, but I always just enjoyed doing that. And I feel like no matter what the art form is, you're explaining some sort of experience or some sort of emotion, or there's some sort of energy or attitude that you're like portraying in what you do. So like even in martial arts, it's in it seems like, like, oh, you're just fighting. But like there's a body language and a certain movement to it. When I first started, I was very awkward. I was very shy. I wasn't really great at it. And then I kind of just learned the attitude and the mindset and the energy and the body language of it and what to put into it. So, and that's the same thing with any art. And then that goes into storytelling because you're always expressing some sort of emotion or some type of energy, something that is, pertaining to the human experience. Um, I don't know what am I even saying right now?
You're tying it all together.
It's okay. You don't have to cut this. You can leave this in the podcast too. You can leave this in here. I think, yeah, storytelling is like any other form of art. It's really just a form of expression, of self-expression. Um, and I think that having other ways of being creative really just helps you to exercise that creative muscle. And it helps you to just, I guess, have more ability when it comes to storytelling. I would think, I can't say that for sure, but I imagine that it carries over, into all types of creativity and art.
Because you have a martial arts background, are you finding yourself like in this the script you're writing or the other stories you're writing? Is there any kind of fighting or stunt work that's involved? No.
No. Maybe in the future. This first short film that I'm producing is literally not what I even imagine as my type of film to write. It's very sad, like The Notebook, like very like sad. There's not really a need for martial arts in that.
Not
It would
yet.
be, like but I think that I will in the future. I do love action films. I love action comedies. The very first thing that I wrote was an action comedy. I sent it to my friend that I worked with on the film, and he had some critiques, and I'm going to rewrite it. But that one was feature length, so that's going to be a long process of
Yeah.
recrafting that story. And you can ask the team at F7. I've rewrote the short "Don't Stay Here All Day" so many times just by bouncing ideas off of them and going back and forth. Um, but yeah, this one doesn't really need a lot of action. Um, and it's funny because you would think that I would be doing that. Even in like when I was auditioning, there'd be all these action roles. And I'd be like, okay, I have to book this. I have the abilities, and then they just usually book a bigger name and hire a stunt double. But so I haven't done a whole lot of action so far. But one day.
How do you define success for yourself as an artist now compared to when you first started?
Yeah, I think when I first started, it was I don't want to say shallow, but I think I would just be like, oh, if I could be on this series, if I could be on a streaming service, if I could be on something that's going to be in theaters, if I could book this big job. And then I got to a point where I did get eventually in the future a manager that was in LA and Atlanta, and I had a lot of really, really big opportunity auditions. And I was like, okay,
Nice.
this got to be it. This got to be it. And then it was always someone significantly more famous than I that would book. And then like over time, like I would see a lot of like whoever they, because when it's a big project, you just see who they casted. Like it's on
Yeah.
the deadline posts, and you just see it, and it's like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just had this feeling like it's not going to be me. But I mean, maybe one day. But right now, as of now, as I am right now, it just wasn't going to be me. It's just I just wasn't for me. So now I find a lot more joy and fulfillment in finding a community of people to work with. I wrote a short film, and I found a group of amazing people that love it and want to help me bring my script to life. You know, I when I get to act even on a 48 and I have a good time and we get to see what we created on the big screen when it, you know, during the 48 competition screening. And I feel like all of those experiences, although they seem small in comparison to being on a big feature film or being on a big production, I feel like I get a lot more fulfillment from that. And I think the real success comes from finding joy in what you do and, you know, being able to actually work and do what you love. And I feel like previously I was just wearing myself out trying to get a big casting director to pick me or to like me for something because it wasn't about my creativity, it wasn't about me and my art anymore. It was about how can I get this job? How can I, you know, and a lot of acting teachers will tell you, don't do that, just enjoy the work, enjoy the work. I'm like, okay, if I'm just like doing the work for me, why am I sending this to a casting director? Like what, why even send it if I don't care what they think, you know? So it just, my idea of success was to book a big job, and now it's just to do the work and to love the work and to have a good experience and get to make art and express myself.
Yeah. What do you plan on doing with your short after it's done?
That's a good question. I think we're gonna definitely submit it for film circuits, and I think this since this is my first short, I'm kind of just testing things out and seeing where what is possible, seeing where this can go, and I'm not 100% sure.
What challenges have you faced as an independent actor without representation, and how have you navigated those challenges?
I feel like it's a lot less challenging. The only
Less
thing is
demanding?
like, yeah, the only thing is like, obviously, I'm not auditioning for big projects anymore, and I could be potentially missing opportunities, right? I mean, that comes with not having an agent or manager currently submitting me for things. I could be missing out on opportunities, or maybe that one audition that I maybe could have booked. But I think me personally, I've just really enjoyed the process of writing. Don't Stay Here All Day is again one of many things I've been drafting, one of my many ideas I've been thinking of. Um, and I feel like if I wanted to act as a career and make money, then yes, this would be a terrible idea. But I wasn't making money anyways, and I was poor anyways. So I feel like it's a lot less challenging to just have a day job and then to find my own work or make my own work for the most part on my own time without as much pressure. So yeah, it's been a lot less challenging.
What kind of stories do you feel most passionate about telling, and what impact do you hope your work has on audiences?
I want my stories to be, it's such a hard one. It's hard to explain. I feel like they should be inspiring. Um, they should be relatable. Um, they should always have a strong theme or message to them. But that being said, I don't think all of my films are going to be like super serious dramatic. Like I'm definitely an action comedy type of person. While the current thing I'm working on is not funny at all, I do I do want to write comedies, but I feel like even in a comedy, like maybe it'll even take you out of reality for a moment, or it'll still have a strong message. Even if you were laughing the whole way, it still has a strong, relatable message about the human experience to it. So um, yeah, I think as long as it's just people enjoy it and it leaves a positive impact, that's what matters.
So, because I feel like you've had this experience that you've kind of had your ups and downs. You've had a agent, or some people are still looking for an agent. You've had an agent, had a manager. What kind of advice would you give to actors who are feeling stuck and or waiting for opportunities? Um, like, what would you suggest that they do?
What we were talking about earlier, which is to be stubborn. You know, like for people, my advice to people waiting for opportunities is don't. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, what do I know? But I personally do not want to wait around for someone to pick me. I do not want to keep competing with 1,000 other actors and have that be my only way of um, being creative or being an artist. That being said, I do obviously, if you want to book a job, you have to audition for it. So, you know, I'm not telling people to just ignore that process forever. Like, obviously, you can't book jobs if you don't audition for them. But I do always encourage people to find fulfillment in other ways and find other ways to be creative outside of auditioning for things. And that could be even taking classes, which is just practicing and meeting a community of other actors and networking. It can mean a lot of things, but just doing anything else outside of just auditioning and waiting for opportunity.
So, looking ahead, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what kind of projects do you hope to be working on?
That's a good question. I definitely want to be working on projects that have a lot of meaning and are like a good story. I think that sometimes people are just kind of trying to recreate something they've seen in the past, and it's not necessarily all the way thought out or all the way meaningful.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to be on projects that have a good impact on the audience and, you know, quality works. And yeah.
What is the most constructive criticism that you've ever received in your career in the film industry? Constructive criticism. So, good criticism.
You don't want to talk about the bad criticism?
No, you just push those
Because we can
aside.
talk about that all day.
Just like, nah, whatever. But things that like helped you grow, like,
I mean, I did have a teacher say something similar to what we've been talking about, which is find other ways to be an artist or to appreciate art and find ways to take care of yourself. I think is always a positive message because when you put all of your time and energy and effort into wanting to succeed in terms of like financial success or being recognized um, or your auditions and booking, I feel like it's like very draining and unhealthy. So find ways to take care of yourself, find ways to really foster your own creativity and your own artistry outside of external approval or external acknowledgement, but like what feels good to you and what is, you know, does that make sense what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Follow
I
your
just,
passions, regardless if
mhm,
it's not acting. Find other passions that kind of help fuel that creativity and to keep you healthy.
yeah.
I didn't mean to answer for you. What skills have you fallen back on when it comes to your film career? And don't say martial arts. So we know you're martial artist, but is there any other skills that you've fallen back on?
Other skill, and it's so funny because I don't really use my martial arts and acting as much as you think
What?
I would. I know it's funny. I use it a lot to grow my social media. I found that when I promote or boost martial arts content on social media, I don't have a big following, but it grew significantly, right? It's like 8 times larger than what it was, you
Wow.
know, less than a year ago, right? My social media account. But so yeah, martial arts, I haven't really been falling back on it a whole lot anyways. I got a couple small jobs using, you know, sports, athleticism, martial arts, but not a whole lot. And any other skills I use for my acting, that's so funny. I don't really, I think other than that, I'm really just focused on my acting when it comes to acting. I've done an audition in another language before, which
Oh, what
I'm
what
not fluent in
language?
that language.
What language?
I did a whole audition in Spanish.
Wow.
Gio actually helped me practice.
Oh,
one
right
time.
on.
And it was funny because he was like, "Are you reading off of a teleprompter?" I was like, "No." And I don't speak this language, but
That's awesome. That's
I
good.
I can I yeah. I mean, that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that just goes to show that I will try anything for an audition and I will push myself into skills that maybe are not my strongest. Like speaking another language is not my strongest skill. I'm not the best at that. I'm decent um, for pronunciation, but I'm not like great at it. But I think I will try a lot of things if I have to try to cry for a scene or another language, or if I have to have action in a scene, like I definitely will push myself and challenge myself to the best of my ability. And I feel like that in itself can help a lot in a lot of different cases.
What is the one thing that you did to get a part that you desperately wanted in a film?
I'm trying to think. I haven't booked a lot through auditioning. I've done a lot of 48s. I've worked on stuff with people I know. I've booked like photography or industrial things. I'm trying to think of a time that I've booked. I've got callbacks, but I can't even really think of a time that I've booked through an audition
Hmm.
directly. Um, and that's why when I talk about I had to take a break from auditioning, maybe I'm just bad at auditioning. I don't know.
I'm a
But like
bad
I can
auditioner.
callbacks. What was that?
I said I'm a bad I auditioned for a commercial one time. It was after work, and I'm reading the lines. I'm getting the lines down. I'm getting the lines. I show up on set, and I go blank. I had no lines memorized, and I could not spit anything out. And I'm like, I'm done. I can't even. I left. I was like, it's not coming out. I got nothing in here. It just because when you're practice, you getting it and you're
Mhm.
saying it, and then when it was time to say it, I was like, I have no idea what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. It's funny because I have self tapes. I've sent a lot of self tapes and still did not book. But I've worked with people, so usually like like I've had bookings off of my photo, like for like non-speaking roles, and then I meet the people, and then I work with them on like a 48. I think one of the very first things I did was like for the LaRusso Brothers competition. That was like maybe a year ago. I
Hmm.
don't remember when that was. Remember when everyone was doing a LaRusso Brothers thing, competition thing?
I don't
There was like a
do the
film
competitions.
submission competition thing, right?
I live in Bremerton, so it's very rare do I ever get out.
Yeah, so I've booked off of photos and for like a non-speaking role, and then I meet people, and then sometimes they just have to take a chance on me for a speaking role, and then they know me, and every now and then they call me onto a project. That has been most of my work thus far. Um, yeah, I've had one callback. There was one time that I got a call back, and it was on the day that I had a shoot for some sort of 48 or 72-hour thing, and that was awful because then I was already committed to the 72-hour film competition shoot, and then I was like, "Hey, can I go to this callback? They're not going to move it to another day," and then I ended up losing my role as a lead in the 72-hour. I went to the callback briefly, came back, did the 72 hours, a long day of waiting because my role was now smaller because they didn't know how available I was going to be. And then I did not book from the callback that I sacrificed my lead role in the 72-hour film competition for. So that was fun.
What's the hardest character you've ever had to play since you started acting?
The hardest character. Like hard to understand the character or like hard just to for the set?
Hard for you.
Mm.
You're like, ah, I can play anything.
No, I feel like they've always been hard because I usually do the scary 48-hour ones where I have to be like terrified. Uh,
Are
and I
you
don't
the
think I'm
victim?
necessarily
Are you the victim?
yeah, but like I'm usually a survivor actually. I
Okay.
survive. But it's a lot of like running, hiding, screaming, being scared, crying, freaking out, panicking. And it's not that I can't do it. I think that just after a few takes, it does get tiring. Like I'm over here running, crying, and then they're like, "Oh, the battery died. Can we do that again?"
Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. That's bad on the crew side. Oh my gosh. All that work. Is that, don't tell me that happened on, was it Cicero? Is that how you say it? Cicero?
No, that one didn't happen. That one was
Okay.
a lot of fun. They're pretty good at not doing too many takes. But I will say it is always a challenge to like really focus. And I will say I get a lot of we talk about that constructive criticism. I get a lot of feedback on acting, but to make sure my acting doesn't look like I'm acting. Like teachers will always say, don't play the emotion, don't play the thing, but experience the story or really understand the character. And then, when you're trying to be someone who was fighting for their life, um, and you're told to make sure that you're not acting or like faking it, it's exhausting because I'm like, how exactly do you do that? Like, do I just go to a dark place in my mind? Is that healthy? Probably not. Um, but so yeah, those roles are just always a little more challenging, especially making sure that it looks real, because you don't want to look like you're fake crying. You want to look like you're actually in distress. So it's just always a little fatiguing, but very rewarding, and especially when the cast and crew is very funny, and it's a lot of fun outside of the takes.
Well, what is Cicero? What is that about? It's because you're on the poster and it looks like you're
Mhm.
terrified. You have headphones on.
Mhm.
What is that? I know it's a short. I think you
Mhm.
guys already put it in festivals, right?
Yes,
Is it still in
we.
festivals?
I am not sure, honestly. I just acted in that one. I didn't have a lot to do with
Just
anything
acted in it.
else. Nope. I just was on set. I did my
Yeah.
acting. They're a really great set to work with. What I do like about them is that they allow me to really ask questions or make suggestions for my character. I've been on sets where the director does not want me to ask questions. They don't want me to really say that much, or like, no, it's I'm being so
Is
honest
that
right now.
is that in LA or is that here?
No, in Seattle, I've been
What?
on set for like, there was one time where I was trying to make sure, because we were in a neighborhood, and then they were like, you can park here. And I was like, oh, I don't know if you know, but there's a car on the other side. I want to make sure I'm not blocking it. And then like my feedback was later was like, oh, you ask too many questions. Like if we say park, you should just park. And I was like, because I was trying to make sure I didn't get you guys in trouble. Okay. Um,
Wow. Wow.
um, to each their own. But that's why I really did love being on sets for Susurro, because
How do you say it?
everyone was super
Susuro?
nice.
Susuro?
Was it?
How do you say it?
How should
Sus-
you say it?
Susuro? I
It
don't know if
means
I'm saying it right.
whisper in Spanish. So,
Susuro. 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 Let me guess. Who
however,
came up with that name? Gio?
I'm not sure. It could be Johnny, Gio, and Luis. We're
I'm gonna
all
have to.
working.
One of these days,
Well,
I'm
I
gonna have
think it
to
was.
crash your guys' set. I'm just
I
gonna
think
show
Johnny
up.
wrote it.
Interesting.
I don't know. I
Interesting.
honestly, like I said, I just acted on that one. But they're a really great set in that they let me have a lot of wiggle room as an actor. Like I felt like they were so like, yeah, you can ask questions. Yeah, you can make a suggestion. Yeah, I want to hear your ideas, which was always nice. And no hate to other sets. Like I get they're on a tight schedule. They don't want me asking too many questions. That's fine. But I do appreciate when I can communicate and cooperate a little bit more, and just knowing that my ideas and opinions are at least considered or respected. So that's always
I
nice.
wonder if that's why I haven't worked for anybody because I asked too many questions. It's like, I'm like, but I mean, you have to. You got to. You have to know what they're looking for. I mean, even if it's parking your car, you still got to go, can I park here? But I don't know. That's just so odd to me because I think that's part of the whole process. Is you want a good performance, you got to ask questions. Like, is this work? Is this the direction we're going in? Is this what you want? How did that sound? Does this look? What if I did this? These are all
Mhm.
questions. You know?
I was gonna say, I think that sometimes people maybe think that it's slowing things down if they don't, maybe they don't understand the intent behind your questions, if they don't understand, I don't know, like I've
I had
I don't know, but I've that's made me so like, look, and I'm an actor, like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay in my place as an actor. I don't want to say anything, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to make anyone mad. And then, like if something I really, I only ask questions pertaining to what do you want, as in like, did you have an idea for me to do it more this way, or did you have an idea for me to do it more that way, more stoic, more shy, more timid? And like usually those are the only questions that certain types of people will accept. And then other than that, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna be quiet, gonna do my job. But I feel like F7 Studios, the community there, they're a lot more open and a lot more we're just receptive to cooperating with the actor a little bit more.
the one thing I think it's kind of funny because on my sets, I've asked, as the director, I've asked questions. Are you comfortable with this? What do you think about that? What if I did this?
Mhm.
And we've, my last film, Cousin, we changed so many things based on what the director or what the actors wanted, based on how
Yeah,
they thought it would look or how they thought they could pull it off. Or I was like, great, let's do it. It was like there's a structure that you have. And like, for instance, one scene, Philip gets his toe cut off. So it's like, well, I don't know how I'm going to film this. I just know we got a fake foot. It looks nothing like his. It just looks like a plastic foot. And it was like, well, we have blood and we have a knife that's not even sharp. It's like, so how are we going to do this? And they're the ones that came up with the idea. Philip goes, well, what if you take my real foot? Is the knife sharp? He felt the knife. It's not sharp. He goes, just put it in between my toes. And I was like, that's brilliant. Let's do it. And that was
that is
it.
brilliant.
I mean, and so it's like when you develop a team and trust and everyone feels safe to speak their opinion, everybody feels safe to make mistakes, everyone feels safe to just be themselves. That's when you have magic. What's your
Yeah.
favorite genre? What is the one genre that you really are drawn to? I know you said like comedies. Is comedies your favorite?
To watch, yeah, like I like to
No, to
watch,
act. To
to
act.
act. I don't know. I feel like I need to be on more sets and get more experience acting in different roles to really give a true answer to that, because I feel like I'm still discovering what I can do and what the experiences are like. So,
Okay, so let me ask you this. Because in the beginning of our interview, you had said that you watch shows and you're like, oh, I could do that, or I could be in that. What were those shows? What kind of shows were those where you're like, you kind of pictured yourself being able to, intertwine yourself into those characters or the scenes or the stories? What was that genre?
shows where I see myself, well, as a martial artist, I do love a lot of action films. So any like it's so funny. I love the retro 90s like undercover cop FBI shows. It's so
Comedies,
they're
though?
so they're so
Or
comforting. What
serious
was that?
ones? Comedies or
No, the
serious?
comedy. Like they're so
Okay.
comforting to me. Like if I could watch what was I watching the other day? Like Beverly Hills Cop. Like stuff like that, or like
Yeah.
Rush Hour, or like that
Yeah.
type of like, honestly, that's like my comfort go-to type of movie to put on when I've had a long day. But I think I definitely see myself like being in an action film, whether it be comedy or something more serious and dramatic. There's always like the Karate Kid franchise, which has always been really fun to watch. And it looks like a great time to film. I'm trying to think of what else, like GI Joe. There's like a lot of just these really fun shows that I love watching, that I think they just look like a lot of fun to be filming, and the characters are very dramatic and very, it just seems, I think especially when I was younger, like any type of, like I said, action comedy drama was always very intriguing to me. Um even the Rocky movies, like as a like the Rocky The classics. I love the classics. I don't know why. I've been watching a lot of like retro stuff lately too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your film set in the 90s?
No, it is not. I should
Okay.
actually do that. I should do a film set um in the 90s. I was not alive for much of the 90s, but I just love the films for that
That's hilarious.
time.
So, other than the film that you're working on now, is there anything else that's coming up in the future, or is this the one that's next in line?
The short film is definitely the one where I have a team helping me produce it because, as someone who is new to writing and well, I've been in the acting industry in the while for hello, I've been in the acting industry for a while. I don't have a lot of experience acting, like a whole lot of experience. So it's been great to have the support and a team behind making my first short, Don't Stay Here All Day. My other drafts, I definitely need to work on them, work on writing more, and I definitely want to make some feature films. I'm thinking about boxing, MMA, or like these, like, again, maybe I should write like an undercover cop, FBI agent comedy action because they don't really make those as much anymore. Or maybe they do, and I just don't hear about them. Uh, but yeah, definitely want to, write more stuff. Fantasy is something I've been looking into as well.
Yeah, have you taken stunt classes?
Yes, I've taken a class at Mighty Tripod. They have a fighting on camera course they do every once in a while. I'm trying to think if I've done any other than that, I do a lot of like training. There is a stunt group that I worked with for a little bit, but I couldn't really stay with them due to scheduling and work because I work a lot on weekends and they usually meet on weekends. So that wasn't the best scheduling wise. But I've worked on fighting on camera a little bit, but a lot of my, um, body language and mindset comes from just doing the martial art. I do get advice from people such as there's like Philip Dang, who was on where's my brain going right now?
You're not nervous
He was
anymore.
on the Paper Tigers. The Paper Tigers shot
Oh,
in
okay.
Seattle. I worked as an
Yep.
extra on that one.
Oh, very cool.
And Phil was talking about extending your punches. So he told me a little bit about how you can um, make things look a little bit better on camera versus how you would fight in real life. So it's learning from experience. There's been a couple other things I did where I met some stunt people, some really good stunt people, and got a little bit of advice from them here and there as well.
Very cool. What is your favorite tech when it comes to the film industry? Like, what are you using to write your script?
Oh, I was like, tech.
Yeah,
Tech.
technology.
Whoa, 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 whoa. But I just like, I really don't. I'm really simple, basic person. I haven't, there's a lot of technology, even when it comes down to the mic camera. I know literally not much about that, which I should probably start learning. When I write, I am using Art Studios. A friend of mine told me about it, um, and it's great. Arc Studios has been great for me.
What's it
It's
called?
easy.
Art Studio?
ARC Studios.
Oh, Arc
Um,
Studio.
yeah, it's been really easy because you just put in what it's going to be: dialogue, character, transition, whatever it is, and then you type in the thing, and it formats it in the correct format for what it is in the script. Because you know how there's all those rules around parentheses, character, dialogue, action,
Yeah.
scene heading,
Yep.
transition. Um, it's nice. There's usually a code like a control and then a number for whatever you're typing, and then you type it in, and then it's formatted perfectly.
I put in Arc with a K and it came up with a like an editing platform which was interesting, but I didn't see anything with script on it. And I was like, what? It has edit, color, visual effects, and sound. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. So Arc with a C Studio. Very
Mm-hmm.
cool. I've never heard of that. That's a good
Yep,
tip.
it's easy. I
What
think when I wrote my first script, it was on Word document,
yeah.
and I it was not formatted correctly, obviously, because it's really hard to do that. And then my friend was like, "Hey, you should use like a formatting. I use Arc Studios." And then
That's
I tried
cool.
it, and I haven't written a script in anything else ever since because
I'll have to
it
give it a
makes it super
try.
easy.
I wrote a
Mhm.
script and I sent it to my mentor, and he fixed it. He was like, "This is wrong. The format's this one wrong. This is bad." Just totally fixed everything. I was like, "Oh, okay. I didn't know that."
Mhm.
Um, that's good. That's an awesome tip, Jaelyn. What are your thoughts on AI? Do you see yourself using AI in the future for anything?
Yeah, no, I do see that AI has a lot of uses, even when people are doing their what's it called, like their vision board. I'll see a lot of AI for vision boards
Yes,
nowadays when you
that's
get
a great
breakdowns for
idea too.
things. I see it a lot, or like casting notices. You'll see like an AI image looking for this person, and you'll see like the AI generated images of the type of character they're looking for. And I think it is now ingrained into everything we do. Is there a little bit of fear behind it still? Yes, just because it learns a lot and it's not always used ethically. That's why we had strike, a whole strike involving AI and the use of AI. And if we're using it ethically and getting the right permissions around it, and then even if we are getting the right permissions around it, our actor's going to really have a choice if every job is saying, "Hey, we're just going to use your image," you know.
Right.
So I think I'm always scared. Like it's just a loaded question and it's a loaded term because all of the ethical issues around it. But that being said, I do see that obviously it can be a tool for people, and it can be used for certain things.
Would you ever be in a film that utilizes AI?
It depends. I personally would not be comfortable, like, for example, if I'm just like uploading my face and then they just
No, you would
do.
be you as the actress, but I'm talking about
Mhm.
like maybe interacting with another character that's computer generated or a background again that was AI.
I think the background wouldn't be that big of a deal. I've actually worked on a really cool set that was like fake, like a screen. I forgot what the actual term for it
Yeah,
is.
like the
Like I said, I'm
volume,
terrible with tech.
the LED
It wasn't
walls.
AI, but it was like a, yeah.
Yeah.
I worked on the stand-in for that actually, so
Oh,
that
very
was
cool.
fun because they were testing out the background. But yeah, background I think is fine. AI is for character though. I do honestly feel like I act a lot better with real characters in person. I feel like you get to bounce off of each other's energy and have that conversation. When I'm auditioning with the reader who's reading the script and not looking at me, it's always harder. When I'm, you know what I mean? When I'm talking to a screen or to a camera or to something without a soul, the acting is always less. Um, I feel like less genuine when I have another actor and I'm working with them and I'm bouncing off of the way that they say things and the way that they do things. I feel like it helps me a lot as an actor.
Jaelyn, Sierra, what's the best way people can reach out to you to get a hold of you?
Why do I not have an answer for that? I feel like that's a basic question.
Facebook? Instagram?
Instagram. I would use my Instagram. I've been using that's something that I will check my inbox. Usually, there's a 95% chance I will see the message. Maybe. um, yeah. So Instagram, I think, would be the best way. And then upon that, I would give my email. I don't give my email out like publicly, but if someone has like a serious business inquiry, then I would then move over to email or phone number.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us on the Downing Cut. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.